This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Where I live, a lot of people eat dirt. They've eaten dirt for generations, specifically this thing they call white dirt. It is a clay, a kind of clay called kaolin. It just tastes like basically nothing, just kind of chalky with these crunchy little crystals inside it. Why exactly would people eat this? Well, eating dirt is a great example of the universally applicable axiom, geography is destiny. Whenever one is wondering why some group of people seems to be different in some way, the root cause is usually geography. Nothing intrinsic to the people, but it's all about where they live or where they used to live. Geography is destiny. So this video is about food and eating, but follow me on a tangent about geography, or more specifically, geology. Go Rocks! All around the world, you have some low-lying flat areas known as coastal plains. This is the coastal plain of India, actually two of them on either side. They meet at Land's End there. This is the Atlantic coastal plain of North America. It's an area on the continental shelf that used to be ocean floor during interglacial periods when seas were higher. That's one reason why it's so flat. Another reason coastal plains are flat is that rivers come flowing down from the adjacent uplands, and then when they hit the sea, all the sediment that the rivers are carrying just kind of goes bleh, and you get this long, big, wide, flat piece of land with really sandy soil. And the difference is visually appreciable on the ground. You can tell when you're on a coastal plain. Just north of the coastal plain here in Georgia, there is a higher plateau region called the Piedmont. It's named after the Latin word for foothill. Just as Piemonte in Italy is a foothill region of the Alps, the Piedmont is a foothill region of the Appalachians. When you're up in the Piedmont, the landscape is rolling hills and lush deciduous forest. You go down into the coastal plain, and all of a sudden, it's flat as a pancake, and it's covered in scrappy-ass pine trees that grow in sandy soil. The dividing line between these two regions, the Piedmont and the coastal plain, this is known as the fall line. It's called that because it is demarcated by literal waterfalls. Below the fall line, the land is flat, so rivers are flat. They're slow, they're smooth, they're navigable. Easy rafting or canoeing in these waters. If you boat upriver, eventually you hit the fall line, where the water is literally falling from that higher Piedmont region down onto the lower continental shelf. You cannot row your little boat up that. If you've come this far from the sea, you either turn around and you go back, or you look over to the shore and you say, well, I guess we live here now. Hence a constellation of major settlements all along the fall line, all with pre-Columbian roots. Here's the Ocmulgee River in Georgia, just below the fall line. Over here, you've got earthworks built by ancient Mississippian people. Over here, you've got the modern city of Macon. Fall lines collect people, just as they collect sediment, though alas, not all of them came here willingly. The Atlantic coastal plain is what enabled plantation-style agriculture. Clear those scrappy-ass pines and you have vast, vast, flat acres of well-drained, sandy soil, the kind of soil that's perfect for cotton and tobacco. Europeans, blessed with the perfect geography for the age of sail, abducted people from West Africa and forced them to grow cash crops along the coastal plain. You grow that cotton and then you need to get it to market somehow, so you put it on a wagon and you take it to the nearest river. And at that point, you have two options. You can either float it down to a port like Savannah or Charleston, where you put it on a ship to England or to New England, where the cool, fast-moving rivers provided the perfect water power for textile mills, because geography is destiny. Or you can paddle your stuff upriver as far as you can go, to a town where the fall line also provides some water power for textile mills. And being that this town is at the head of a major waterway, it becomes a logical place to build a major railway hub to get stuff even further north, and yeah, geography is destiny. This shape kind of looks like the fall line too, the fall line and areas of the coastal plain just south of it. But this is not showing us geology, it is showing us human beings. These are counties where at least 30% of the people living there today are African American. It is known historically as the Black Belt, a legacy of plantation agriculture. But if you look at the Georgia fall line from space, you will see white. Just south of Macon here, blindingly bright patches of white. There's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one. all along the fall line, or really just below the fall line. What are they? Well, let's zoom in, and I think that we have found the source of Grandma's white dirt. Kaolin mines. Kaolinite is a kind of clay, and clays are generally formed by the weathering of exposed rock. The fall line, where I am right now, remember, was the coastline back in the late Cretaceous period when these deposits first started forming. Rocky cliff faces of the Piedmont were worn away by water. The resulting hydrous minerals flowed down and collected in pools that became clay deposits. Kaolinite in particular forms in hot, wet conditions, which is why the same telltale blinding white patches are visible from space in similar climates. Here's kaolinite mines in northern Brazil. In Georgia, a lot of the kaolin clays mixed with iron oxide, the stuff that makes Georgia dirt red. This clay is not that commercially useful, but keep digging, keep digging, keep digging. White gold. So much white gold. What can you use it for? Well, you can use kaolin to make porcelain. They figured that out in China millennia ago. The name kaolin is of Chinese origin. Check this blinding patch of white in China near Shaolin. Because it is so pure white, kaolin is very useful in paper products, in cosmetics and paints. Here's a testament to the purity of these kaolin deposits. The rainwater that collects in kaolin mines, this is so eerily blue because it is pure. It is not colored by the mineral in which it sits. Instead, the sun reflects off the white clay bottom and literally lights up the pool's natural blue. The owners of closed mines are constantly working to keep out swimmers. Check this blinding patch of white in Indonesia. They've developed the crystal blue waters of that old kaolin mine into a major tourist attraction. Kaolin can also ease an upset stomach, and historically lots of pharmaceuticals were based on this. Most notably kaopectate, that's where the name comes from, though they don't use kaolin in that anymore. Scientists call the practice of ingesting clay geophagy, and it is something that people have historically done out of desperation in times of famine. It's this soft, chewable, swallowable, bulky material that is relatively biologically inert that you can just use to fill your stomach when you got nothing else. However, it is well documented that geophagy happens among people who are not desperate and starving, in particular children and pregnant women. Scientists have speculated this craving for clay might have something to do with mineral deficiencies experienced by pregnant women, or it might be an immune system thing. The immune system does a lot of weird stuff during pregnancy, and clays have natural filtering properties. Or clay could just be a cheap and relatively effective natural remedy for the various digestive problems of pregnancy. And of course, once people start eating something, they very rarely stop, even after the conditions that initially prompted them to eat it have passed. We're just programmed to like eating things that we're used to eating, right? That said, eating a whole lot of this can cause health problems. It can cause blockages, it can cause certain kinds of anemia, and most infamously, it causes teeth problems. Those little crystals in there can just grind away at your teeth over time. Right here is the most concerning research to me. This indicates that geophagy might cause the very anemia that causes the craving for more dirt. Dirt has lots of vital minerals in it, but it interferes with their absorption, or bioavailability it's called. Bags of kaolin like this are not sold as food or medicine, but as a novelty item, obviously for legal reasons, though go on the Amazon reviews and people will tell you why they are buying it.
It's hard, which is good. I like crunchy hard, but the only thing that I don't like is the aftertaste.
Around here, eating dirt is particularly associated with rural black women. And nobody knows for sure why. There's been a lot of research about this. There's a bunch of links in the description. Could just be that kaolin was a ubiquitous, cheap home remedy around these parts, though some scholars have traced it back to geophagy in Africa. Certainly lots of white people around here eat kaolin too, and all kinds of people who do it will often regard it as a habit, something that they're a little bit bashful about, something that is stigmatized a little bit. Maybe because of its association with rural poverty, maybe just because it's so unusual. But what may seem at first blush to be people acting weird is usually quite logical in its context, right? It's geography. Geography is destiny. This is not to diminish the role of human agency, though. Human choices. Human choices should go acknowledged, in particular when talking about things like slavery, right? The dirt didn't make them do it, though it did enable them to do it. We all swim under our own power, though geography is the river in which we paddle. Geography's flow deposited the people here as well as the dirt beneath their feet, and geography shaped their interaction. At the very least, geography is why the Earth is dotted by these patches as blindingly bright and shiny as a new website from Squarespace. Web design and development do not have to proceed at a geological pace. In the time it took you to watch this video, you can easily go to squarespace.com and customize one of the gorgeous templates they have for any conceivable purpose. You throw in a picture or two, and you can set various global parameters like color, white is kaolin or not. It's easy to drop in new blocks or features, schedulers so that people can make appointments with you, open table blocks for restaurants, video or audio embeds, and money. Whether you're selling stuff or taking donations, Squarespace can handle all the bank card stuff for you. You can work on a site like this for free, but when you're ready to publish it or to buy a custom domain, do a favor to you and me both and use my Ragusia link and code in the description, squarespace.com/Ragusia. Thank you, Squarespace. Now, am I going to eat the rest of this? Not my thing.